What's happening out there, guys? Welcome along to another episode of 420 News. Just about on time today, thank God. It's Friday-High-Day. How's everybody out there? Oops, I just hit the chat box by mistake. I didn't mean to do that one. I meant to hit the viewer count. There we go. What's happening, Podge? I see Podge is out in the audience, getting in the old comments there. And Bren Smith has given us a follow there as well. Nice one, Bren. Appreciate it. Podge is saying, happy high day all. Happy high day to you too, Podge. Let's blaze one up, brother. Guys, it is Friday, and yes, I'm in critical demand over here at the moment, so I do have a pre-recorded piece lined up there shortly that I will hit play on while I just go and run some errands here. I just got to get my daughter to her extracurriculars, as you do. Herself is due any bloody day now. The baby's going to pop out at this stage any second now. So it's like all hands on deck. But as always, I'm delighted to be able to find the time to get the 420 News out there to you guys, because it is a worthwhile cause, and we need to kind of challenge the narrative that's out there currently in the media, because it seems like there is a gearing up of the propaganda machine there to try to demonize cannabis and paint an ill picture of it in the eye of the public. So the 420 News is needed more now than ever before. So if you're watching right now, hit that share button, spread the word, and get it out far and wide, because people need to be awakened to the lies that they've been told by the mainstream media as to the dangers that exist around cannabis in our society. Because in reality, we all know the real danger posed to our society today is posed by prohibition, not cannabis. Sorry guys, a lot of dancing around there, just looking for, what did I do with my lighter? Oh, let's hope this one works. No! I definitely had one 2 seconds ago. You know what it is? It took off my house code. Boom! Torch of freedom. Yes, sorted. So let's blaze one up, guys, for 420. What are y'all talking on out there, guys, on this beautiful Friday-High-Day? I see it's a little bit cloudy outside, but it is still very nice out there. It's actually a nice afternoon, so I look forward to another walk with the dogs there later this evening myself. Oh, delicious. Purple God bud. Ooh. Oh, it's so nice. I think I might pack another bowl. Oh, yes. I see R420 Supplies is out in the audience. What's happening, R420? Oisin Bradley Moore is out there as well. What's up? What's up, Oisin? Keith Griffin's in the audience. What's happening, Keith? Regular listener. Or watcher. I don't know what the correct term is there. I suppose watcher. Viewer. Viewer is the correct term, actually. Yes, I got it. I figured it out. Shout out to all the viewers out there. Green Tea, what's happening? Fur Grace is in the audience as well. What's happening, Fur Cup all as well? Guys, head on over. Give Cork Herbal Products a check out as well. Cork Herbal Products, based here in Cork City. Suppliers of some fine quality CBD, CBG, and other kind of essentials that us talkers would need out there. So Cork Herbal Products. Ferg might mention there in the comments as to where you might be able to find his fine wares. Pods 4420 is out there. Podge as well. What's happening, Podge? John Finnegan, what's happening, John? Hi, John. Casa Does Drogas is in the audience as well. What's happening, Casa? Hope you're well, buddy. Delighted for you and the fam. Casa says, much appreciated there, Casa. Exciting times ahead. We'll certainly get the word out there once we've got some good news. But I'm not allowed to go live. Others out there, Skatanist. What's happening, Skatanist? Hype is there as well. Mark Andrew, what's happening, Mark? Others out there. None Shall Pass One. What's happening, None Shall Pass One? None Shall Pass One has got some grapes zittles going nice. And green tea has got the Chong's Choice Mendocino Skunk. Very nice. Some lovely flavours out there being enjoyed by you guys. Skatanis is trying a mix of 3 strains. 2 active, 1 non. So is that like 2 high THC and 1 high CBD strain? Nice, good going. TK420 era over there on Twitter or over on Twitch. What's happening? Finally smoking some good indicas. Sick of the haze, to be honest. Nice, very nice. To be honest, I've been looking myself for a good sativa. I've been getting nothing but a lot of strong indicas down here lately. And I've been really enjoying them, in fairness, but I would really like a good sativa, especially after talking, I think it was green tea I was talking to there the last day, privately, not in the interview, and she was telling me about the sativa that she was having, and it was like really energetic, at her laughing her ass off. I could do with a bit of that, even though, you know, all this on the 420 news, I'm laughing my ass off at myself as I keep getting reminded by the family. Callum Cully's out there as well. What's happening, Callum? Mistow is in the audience. What's happening, Mistow? Is DB Woodcraft is out there. What's going on, DB? And Soul Rebel is out there as well. What's happening, Soul Rebel? Evening Buds blazing up some cherry haze this evening. Very nice indeed. Anyone else out there? Teresa's in the audience, has got some auto blueberry. Nice, Teresa. Guys, you're all well looked after out there. Great to hear. Haven't seen anybody commenting. I've got nothing. It'll come. I bet you there's somebody going to say it. I've got nothing. Oh, some poor soul out there. It's unfortunate because of prohibition. Karan C, what's going on? Made some hash for my dosey dos. So tasty. Yes, love it. John Fillion has the I have the normal do you want it strain. Do you want it or not? Drive on if you don't. Don't be asking me what strain this is by. Daniel Crowley's out in the audience as well. What's happening, Daniel? How you doing, Martin? Very good. Thanks for asking. Green Tea says, please do not remind me of that chocolate skunk. But I have a sour diesel coming soon, which I'm looking forward to as well. Nice. That's coming in from Green Tea. Excellent. Patrick Peacock is out there on Twitch as well. What's happening, Patrick? Martin Hash Homemade. Nice. Very nice. That homemade hash is always something to be admired. It's the taste, quality. What else is out there? Billy Bonds, what's happening, Billy? Hope you're well, Billy. And Hype is in the audience as well. Nice. Right, let's blaze up a second bowl here of this beautiful purple godbud bred by the high and homegrown panel member, Temple Grower. Compliments to the chef. Great work, Temple Grower. Nothing like a bit of civil disobedience on a 420 news on a lovely Friday evening. Right, so as I say, guys, I do have some errands to run there shortly, but we'll read out 1 or 2 more comments there. I see Temple Growers after popping into the audience. What's happening, Temple Grower? Just sending some compliments to you there, buddy. So definitely well deserved, pal. Well deserved. Buddha is out in the audience as well. Buddha says, same, I've not and just can't trust it where I am consistently bad, so gave up. Oh, that's a real heartbreaker to hear, Buddha. If at all possible, buddy, if you're not already doing so, I highly recommend growing your own, and get on over to the Percy's Grow Room and to the High and Homegrown podcast too, where you'll get all of the information you need about growing it, and find a community of growers out there as well, where you can feel where you can feel safe, and find a community, you know, that will back you up as well where needed. But yeah, definitely growing your own. Can't recommend people do that for themselves because of what Buddha says there. You just can't trust the quality that's out there. Consistency is not there at all. And Billy Bonds, I've been moving and taking apart old shit sofas all afternoon. Lovely, lovely. Hopefully you got some herb there to make that a bit better and more enjoyable. And Temple Grower says, love the PGB, Purple Godbud. I think I'll smoke some myself. Oh, yes. Yes, love it. Love to think there now that we're both under the influence of the same herb right now. All, 2 continents apart, or an ocean apart, sorry. Right, so... Right, guys, I'll be back again very shortly. We'll pop you on over there to my co-host, Martin, who's going to take over the show there for the next possibly 10 minutes. But do enjoy the hotbox while I'm away. See you in a sec, guys. So the first news story I have for you today, guys, is that Alicia Maher, who recently returned home for a short trip, she was quickly reminded as to why she actually left Ireland in the first place. And that's coming at you there via Martin's World, the blog over there. So there's a headline, or there's an article up there at the moment if you want to go over and check it out and give it a share. But Alicia shared with us her experiences of returning to home over on a post on her Facebook page. Pop that up on screen there now for you to see. And Alicia says herself that, and this is the issue with cannabis prohibition in Ireland. She says she emailed Stephen Donnelly to ask if she could travel back to Ireland with her prescription of cannabis, and he said no. Not only did he say no, but he said that it would be seized once she returns back to Ireland, and that she could also be arrested. So Alicia had no choice but when she came home to get some cannabis illegally, from the black market. And she shares up there on Facebook the different forms of cannabis that she got. And picture one, which she says here, that cannabis just simply did not work. And you can see it's kind of very brown looking, very dried looking cannabis. So not the greatest looking cannabis, to be fair, but you can still see the buds there. And it doesn't compare at all to Image 3, which Alicia actually says herself, what even is this shit? And you can see that there, it's very pale in colour as well. So it looks like overly dry, quite old possibly. You can see little fragments of cannabis flowers in there, but in reality it's mostly just leaves and stems. Not something you want to be getting as a patient at all for managing your pain. And the second picture then up there, which Alicia says she was lucky to get, and I helped manage her pain, but it's not as strong as her usual prescription back home. And that is the cannabis pictured there. Looks a lot better than the other cannabis in the other pictures, but still nonetheless it's not up to the par to the quality that Alicia is used to over in Alicante. And she says in her post that so even though I'm prescribed cannabis in Ireland by my GP and pain consultant, I am forced to resort to the illegal market to try all sorts of cannabis to treat my pain while I am at home. If there were cannabis clubs in Ireland, at least I would be able to go find the strain that I know works. It's simply unacceptable and downright dangerous that the people have to resort to this. And I 100% agree with Alicia there. It's completely unacceptable now at this stage of the game that the patients here in Ireland are still forced to resort to the criminal market in order to source their cannabis to treat their pain. It's just unacceptable. The government have had long enough now to sort out this issue. As we all know, the Gino Kenny put forward the medical cannabis bill back in 2016. The government dragged their feet in it. They supported it at the first stage, and then they put a money matter on it in the second stage, and then they came up with their own ingenious plan to put forward a medical cannabis access program, but we all know where that went. Nobody has gotten access to it, and people like Alicia can't even benefit from it because she's not even included in the conditions that a patient needs to have to qualify them for access. The current conditions listed in Ireland are nausea to do with chemo treatment, and you have to be resistant to the other available medications there for treating that nausea as well. So you have to exhaust the other drugs there on the market before you're considered allowed access to cannabis. And that's the exact same for the other conditions then as well. It's spasticity related with multiple sclerosis, and then you've refractory epilepsy too, a form of epilepsy which does not respond to the conventional medications. But Alicia is not included in that, and there was uproar at the time back in 2016 when that was announced. The recommendations were made by the HPRA, and chronic pain was not included there. despite the fact that across the US and even over in the UK, a large proportion of patients who actually use cannabis use it for the fact that it helps treat their chronic pain. So backwards we are in Ireland. That was the situation that Alicia found herself in. Lucky for Alicia now, or maybe unlucky depending on how you look at it. She's getting on a plane today to head back over to Alicante in Spain, where once there she'll be able to go down to our local cannabis club and get the cannabis which was prescribed for her by our GP and pain consultant, and she'll be a lot better off with that too. So that's the story out of Ireland there for Alicia Maher. In another news story out there as well, and it's another annoying one as well. There was a man who was up in court for driving under the influence of cannabis, and he's had his case thrown out after the Garda, in this case, incorrectly charged the individual. And what's annoying about this case is when the error was brought up to the Garda in question, or to the Director of Public Prosecutions actually, they were kind of like, no, there wasn't really an error. The error was an error. Do you know, but what they tried to say is that the Garda submitted a change of charge. He requested that the charge on the summons be changed in error. So the Garda made an error about his error. It makes no fucking sense at all. But in this case anyway, when the case was brought before the district court, or even before the case was brought before the district court actually, the individual charged here by the name of Glenn Ryan, his solicitor, sharp-eyed solicitor, brought to the attention of the Director for Public Prosecution that, hey, come here, this is a more serious charge here, that the usual charge is under the Road Traffic Act, Section 4. It should have been Section 4A, but what they actually put down was Section 4. Section 4 carries with it a more serious charge of a mandatory 4-year driving disqualification, whereas driving charge Section 4A carries with it a mandatory 1-year driving ban. So quite a difference there in the seriousness of the charge, or the bloody the gravity of the punishment. So it wasn't a small error really, and ultimately, because if you think 1 year off the road is bad, try getting 4 years off the road. Like, you know, that's 4 times more serious. But the Gardaí thought that they could get away with the charge anymore. The Director for Public Prosecutions in this case thought they could get away with the charge. Well, that wasn't going to fly with the judge. So in the district court, the Gardaí requested a change of the charge, and the judge denied it. And then the case was heard before the High Court, where the DPP argued that, again, as I said, that the error made by the prosecuting Garda did not alter the legal landscape. And however, the judge presiding over the case said it was a significant error that was made, and that they concluded that there was an actual prejudice to Glenn Ryan as far as the prosecuting Garda is concerned. The charge was incorrect. So the judge in this case here, Judge Maylene, a female judge anyway, I can't find her name there at the moment, but she halted all the charges. She halted the prosecution on the grounds it would breach Glenn Ryan's right to a fair procedure. So happy days there for Glenn Ryan. But what does that mean for the rest of us? Well, for me anyway, I think definitely one thing's for sure, that having a good solicitor could certainly be well worth the money. I'm not too sure what the story is with Glenn Ryan in this case as to how much he actually paid for his solicitor, or if it was supplied to him under free legal aid. I would definitely think it was the former anyway, not the latter. At least in my own experience, free legal aid, they don't really do that much work really. They show up, they'll tell the judge you're guilty, give your old sob story, and that's kind of it. I reckon you definitely have to be paying a solicitor privately in order for him to kind of be putting in this kind of work to kind of say, hey, look at this error there made by the guard, because it's one that could be maybe easily overlooked. Especially, you know, given in the district court there that Garda applied to change the charge. Maybe if the solicitor hadn't spotted it previously, that the guard might have gotten away with getting the charge changed, and the defendant wouldn't have even known that there was kind of a prejudice in the case there. So yeah, definitely getting a solicitor could be worth the money if you've got a little loophole like that could be found within it. But again, for most of us out there, we probably can't afford the price tag there on some of the legal representatives that might be needed to find these kind of loopholes. So yeah, that's the two headlines I have for you there. And in a couple of seconds, hopefully, we should switch back over to myself. And we're back. Apologies there, guys. Traffic on the road is a bit nuts out there at the moment. But yeah, we got back. Hopefully, you weren't waiting too long for me. Maybe about a 4 minute, 20-second wait. Hopefully, you made the most of the silence there. Anyway, I should have had like some backing music there for you. That should have kicked in if the video ended. But again, my sincere apologies, guys. I had to run an errand there, needed to be done, and I didn't want to not do the show. So that's kind of a workaround. Get a bit of a pre-record just to fill the gap, the time there that I've kind of run out. Do that errand, get my daughter dropped off to her extracurricular, and get back here again to finish off the 420 news. So it worked out last week. This week I didn't get the pre-record long enough. So it's something to be worked out on. We got to sort it eventually. Hits in the bong, Martin's no screen. Still an hour from the gaff Greenbird saying he's on about himself there, I'd say more than me maybe. Shift phone died and I missed the end of the show. No, GB, all good, man. You didn't miss the end of the show. Anyway, I was after doing a bit of a pre-record there just to fill the gap, as I was saying. So that's why it looked like the show was after ending. Constant Gardener. So this story all about how my stream got twisted upside down. And I like to take a minute, just sit right here. Nice, love it. Search no copyright songs and spam him with good ones. Nice one, Hype. Appreciate that. The new silent news broadcast, not as popular as the silent discos. Love the comments, guys. Love the comments. Billy Bond says it's spinning the wrong way. It actually is, isn't it? Yeah, it should be going east to west, not west to east. So well spotted there, Billy Bonds. I think Billy Bonds should get a prize for that. Or is it? It's spinning the right way there on my screen now, looking at it. Is it? Who knows? It was an optical illusion, Billy. Yes, what's happening, GB? Nice. BBC 420 gone wrong. Yes. Love it. Nice one for all the comments, guys. A nice one for hanging around there and waiting for me to get back as well. Those of you that did stick around. We drive on. And in other news, across the island of Ireland, there has been in Sligo, in Frankie Boy's country, above there in County Sligo, there was thousands of cannabis-infused chocolates seized by the Gardaí above there. The estimated value of the confectionery that was seized above there is estimated to be at least €10,000 according to the Gardaí. But you know, again, the danger here in this is it even cannabis inside in this stuff? You don't really know. But there has been an image leaked as to the individuals who were caught in this involved in this crime. Because the Gardaí are quoted in saying that this is described as one of the most unusual drug seizures. And what seems to be unusual about it is actually the people who were arrested in it. So we have a picture of the gang who were involved in this drugs organised crime group, you know. So up on screen there now you see the gang. So the Gardaí have brought all of the suspects into the custody now. For some of them, they actually... they were wondering as if they actually had, if they were after suffering the side effects of the edibles because their skin color was slightly off, or if they were big fans of Donald Trump. But pictured on screen is all of the individuals anyway that were arrested there by the Gardaí in Sligo yesterday as part of this massive operation. Yes. No, all jokes aside, though, guys, there was an individual arrested in relation with this, and I reckon they're going to go to town on him. Like, you see the fear-mongering that's out there at the moment with all of these edibles. So I reckon any individual up before a judge over the next few months for having significant amounts of cannabis edibles, they're going to go to town on you, I reckon. Like, really, like the effort being made there now in the media at the moment to kind of highlight the dangers of cannabis and cannabis edibles, this new emerging dangerous trend. They're going to go to town on you guys, so be careful out there. And within the article, they're talking here about the fact that there was kids as young as under the age of 6, there was 6 children that were under the age of 10 that have been hospitalised across Ireland after accidentally consuming these products. And it talks about teenagers as well actually suffering from the seizures and stuff like that. Again, I have to wonder, you know, an incident like that. I think that happened down here in Cork, where there was a teenager rushed off the hospital after like eating some of these edibles, and that teenager was actually suffering from seizures and stuff like that. You have to wonder, was it actually even cannabis in those jellies? You know, come on, sort this crap out. And you know, to make matters worse, then we have a new chief superintendent here in Cork City. This is Chief Superintendent Tom Myers. Tom Myers is the new chief superintendent after being involved with the drug squad and other levels of Gardaí there for quite some time. But he's quoted in the Echo stating that cannabis edibles are a serious scourge, and one that he wants to tackle himself. You know, he's very upset about this new trend. He says cannabis jellies are a serious risk to young people, and and that's the quote from the new chief superintendent here in Cork. Tom Myers, he replaces Barry McPolin in the role of chief superintendent, and he has a serious concerns regarding the new trend of cannabis edibles. So this is the problem now, right? So you've got a plonker like this guy at the top of our guards down here in Cork. Right, so the guards are kind of going in and they're getting their duties now. This guy is dishing out the duties, you know. I know he's got a horn, he's got a hard on for people involved in edibles, you know. So he's going to be tasking his Gardaí, go on out there now and get me results. Find me them edibles, boys. Do you know? We should have a picture of fucking Chief Wiggum up there, actually, you know, with their hunger for edibles at the moment. But yeah, that's the case there down in Cork. So if like you have politicians calling for more Gardaí to go onto the streets to deal with some of the antisocial behaviours as of late, but what's going to happen is if they're granted more Gardaí, plonkers like this fella are going to just make them useless in their duties of making the streets safe, because he's going to task them with going after young fellas with bloody jellies. Come on. In all fairness, this is an issue not for the Gardaí to be dealing with, but an issue for the policymakers to be dealing with by putting proper regulations and controls in place, such as age limits, for God's sake. Put an age limit in place, control who is selling these products by requiring retailers to have a license, you know, to go through a due process to approve them, to make sure that they're not going to do anything bad in the community that they're serving with their shop, you know. But no, we strive on with prohibition because, you know, we have to be hard on drugs. That's going to work. Just say no to drugs, kids. John, that's going to work. It worked for those other fucking teenagers out there going to hospital as a result of consuming these unregulated products, didn't it? And to make matters worse then as well, you know, in Ireland, they've and I've talked about this in the past, but just I was kind of reminded of it within this Echo article here, is that the Cannabis Edible Task Force, made up of members of the Gardaí, of the Food Safety Authority, Ireland, the HSE, Revenue and Customs. So like there's about 5 arms of the law currently working together in a task force to deal with this edible issue. But in reality, what we need is a task force above in the Dáil Éireann to actually put together proper regulations and policies and put them in place. And then therefore these task force wouldn't really be needed at all. What we have actually is educators going out there into the community to educate people about these products. Sorry, I was raging. Just a rant on there about that one. What's happening, Keith? Yeah, Karen C says he wants to eat them and hit fat ass. Do you know a funny thing about Tom Myers, guys? And I didn't really want to be bringing this one up, I suppose, but like Tom Myers is a bit of a story. Because I went to school with a young fella. Paul Myers by the name, and I hate naming him, but he's been named in the court pages in the past as to this crime. But Paul Myers, a friend of mine that I was in school with at the time, a secondary school student with, he got caught involved in the facilitating, I suppose, the transportation of hard drugs like heroin, cocaine. I believe he got caught with. I think just going off the top of my mind, I think it was like was it €125,000 worth of heroin he got caught with, and 12,500 worth of cocaine. I'm just going to Google it there now and see if I can get it up. Paul Myers cocaine. No, it's not even coming up here actually in the news. So Paul is related to our buddy here, Tom. And Paul got a rather lenient sentence, it might seem, you know? So our buddy here, Tom, while he claims to be hard on drugs, except when it's family members. When it's family members, it's like, we can kind of like, you know, we can pull a few strings here and there and we'll make it comfy for you, you know? Like Myers got a it was a drawn out case. I don't believe he got sentenced for a while. Again, I'm going off the top of my head. I'm not looking at anything here. But I do believe it was a drawn out case. I don't think he got sentenced to. Jesus, at least it was about a good 2 years or maybe 3 years afterwards, and I think he was sentenced to a bit of time above in open prison. So it was a very lenient sentence in regards to the amount of drugs he was caught with. I'm trying to find it there. I can't seem to find it online, the news article associated with it. Yeah, I'm not going to find it there in the news article, but yeah, definitely there's a connection there with himself and Myers. I know myself actually, just to put it all out there in context. Like Myers got into the drug transportation game after I refused the job that he first done. So I was offered an opportunity to make €500 to go to Dublin and back, to pick up a package above in Dublin and bring it back to Cork. 500 quid. No, like that's it. There you go. 500 quid. Once you get back, just drop the package off. Like, and I was just like, no fucking way. I did like what size package? Like, how heavy is the package? Like, you know, like you don't get told this kind of stuff, and I turned it down. But unfortunately, my buddy Myers then went on afterwards and took up the trade and was making a bit of money for himself. He was dropping sizable packages up and down. It was going on for quite a while. Like by the time the guards caught up with him, it was a sting operation that happened on the evening. That he got raided actually when all of the heroin and cocaine and the cash, I believe, was found above in his property above in Rathpegan. The guards put done a sting operation. They found the heroin. I think it was like stashed in a field nearby to the house. Funny enough, that was where the pirate radio station we used to operate on back in the day used to be into. But yeah. Funny one, really, isn't it? Like, and here we have now Tom, the chief superintendent, you know, claiming to be concerned about edibles, jellies. Do you know what I mean? But meanwhile, you know, he wasn't that concerned when it was fucking 125 grand's worth of heroin, and I think it was his nephew got caught with. I wonder, can I find it? Like, I still think I could find it, like, but no, I don't think I can find it, like. It was going back a couple of years ago, like I'm talking 10 years ago, good while ago. But we drive on because I didn't really want to get into that, but at the same time, I'm just like, okay, let's just get off with this. Like, Tom, like the chief superintendent, come on, like what do you want to be hard on drugs for? Surely you want to make our society a safer place. Well, the prohibition of drugs is doing the complete opposite to that goal. So, you know, maybe redirect your efforts there, Tom, if you want to see a safer society for the young people and the adults alike. Yep, corruption, definitely corruption out there. And bubble dancing, they're all compromised at the top. Yeah, definitely. We drive on from there, guys, because in another disturbing case here in Ireland, a man who I covered this in the past when this raid actually happened last year, but Anh Vu, a Vietnamese man who came to Ireland with dreams of getting a job here, which were dashed because of apparently because of the pandemic. Well, he got caught up in the in the transportation of cannabis. He became a cannabis courier, as described by the judge in the case. And he was caught after the guards. They were carrying out a surveillance operation. They were watching another van. And in the process of watching this van, they witnessed Anh Vu bringing 2 suitcases and a large bag down into the back of the van. When the van was later pulled in, they actually found there was cannabis inside in these bags. And they went back later on and got CCTV footage from the apartment where Anh Vu had brought the cannabis out of. So they had footage there of him bringing in large refuse sacks into the apartment, and then later on bringing out the suitcases in a large bag. Ang Vu, I'm not too sure what the story is here. Like, is the guy in fear of his life, in fear of the lives of maybe loved ones back in Vietnam? Do you know, is his story true? Because he says he had no knowledge as to what was in the bags, and that, you know, he was getting paid to do a job, and he didn't ask any questions. Do you know, like a good employee does. Do you know, you're getting paid a job. It's like, you don't ask your boss questions. Why am I doing this? Why do I have to do that? You know, your boss would be rather pissed off at you and would fire you. Do you know? So this guy effectively is getting locked up now for just basically doing his job and being a good employee. He done no harm to anybody. Nobody was going to get hurt by this cannabis, you know. But nonetheless, the judge sentenced him to 4.5 years in prison with 1.5 years suspended on rather strict conditions there. You know, that's really annoying, especially when you consider that recently in another court case in Ireland, there was a man who followed a woman home, then exposed himself to her at her front door. It made her feel so unsafe that she couldn't even enter her home for fear that the man would enter with her. He was actually blocking the doorway to her house, so it was rather impossible for her to kind of get up there and enter her property without this guy being right up on top of her. He had his dick out while all of this was going on. He was grabbing at the lady and everything. Do you know what he got? A 3-month suspended sentence. So here you have a guy with like 400,000 worth of cannabis getting a far worse sentence, like, you know, a 4.5 year worth sentence. 4 years and 3 months worth, because that other guy got a 3-month suspended sentence. But he's going to do no time in jail. So one guy's going to do 3 years in jail for cannabis, which me, you, or anybody else out there would be happy with it if it's a good quality and a decent price. You know, we would be rather happy to receive that. How many of us would be rather happy to receive the treatment that woman had to endure at her front door, and for that guy to get a suspended sentence, you know, not even to get any prison time for it? It's rather sick here in Ireland, the way in which our justice system operates. Again, you know, as I say, people will be rather happy to receive the cannabis, but with the sexual assault at your front door, nobody bloody wants that at all. That's just so bloody backwards. And that's Ireland for you. These judges are sick fellas. Like, how much cannabis, like, equates to that? Like the guy got a 3-month suspended sentence. So effectively, like, I'm just trying to think of cases in the past where somebody might have got a 3-month suspended sentence for cannabis. It's like, maybe if you get caught with an ounce or something. If you get caught with an ounce, and, you know, the judge will be like, oh, we give you a 3-month suspended sentence. You know, we could have done you for a year. You know, it's a sale and supply. It's a serious charge. 3-month suspended sentence. So an ounce effectively is the equivalent of a crime of going out there and sexually assaulting a woman on her front door. You've effectively terrorized that lady. That lady's going to be terrorized for the rest of her life, going to be looking over her shoulder as she walks the streets of Ireland, you know? How many people are looking over their shoulder after buying a bag of weed? Except the people who are terrified of getting stopped and searched by the bloody guards. The very same guards who are supposed to be protecting us. But there you go. That's Ireland, man. Cannabis prohibition. Cannabis couriers getting far worse sentences than sexual predators out there, sick perverts allowed to walk the streets of Ireland, while people who only want to transport a plant which makes people happy when they receive it, getting heavier sentences. Not only makes people happier when they receive it, but it alleviates some people's pains. It alleviates some people's symptoms of other more serious conditions, such as Parkinson's, such as epilepsy. Do you know, the list goes on. We drive on anyway in the cases. We come down to Cork, and down here in Cork City, the Gardaí found what was described as green plant material floating in a toilet and a white powdery substance in a sink. After the Gardaí carried out a raid at a house here, and the Garda Nigel Desmond said that when they forced their way into the property, they found remnants of green plant-like material in the toilet and residues of white powder in the sink. And what happened here in this case, it was a case of, I believe the man's name is Brian Collins, apologies, Brian Collins, yeah, off the top of my head. So this is the case of Brian Collins. He was at his property when the Gardaí came to carry out a raid, but he was outside his property when they approached. He spotted him and he made a quick dash inside. He went up into his apartment where he barricaded himself inside with, I think there was maybe one or two others in there with him as well. And while they were there, they were obviously trying to dispose of the evidence, but it wasn't, they weren't quick enough, because they still managed to get caught with over a kilo worth of cannabis. So you have to wonder how much they managed to flush down. But just remember out there, folks, that cannabis don't flush too well. Like, you're just going to end up with a clogged toilet in no time at all. But up on screen there is the cannabis that they were caught with at the property. An unfortunate turn of events for Brian Collins and his associates there. They didn't get caught with any cocaine though, interestingly enough. So they managed to get the cocaine down the sink, at least the majority of it. It says there was residue of white powder in the sink, but they didn't say that there was any actual cocaine seized from the property. But when the guards came anyway, the guys locked themselves into the apartment, and the guards were outside kind of banging, "Hey, Gardaí, open up, we've got a search warrant," and the guards could hear them inside running up and down the stairs. It took the cops 2 minutes to break down the door, so there was a for 2 minutes, like, with probably the battering ram. And when they got into the property anyway, they still managed to find just the over 1 kilo of cannabis inside in there. Just reading through the case here. It says initially the defendant made no reply to the Gardaí, but made full admissions afterwards to the sale and supply of the cannabis. He said that he had been making dinner and that something fell down the toilet. And he wasn't trying to flush any drugs at all. He wouldn't do that. He also admitted that he was involved in the sale and supply of cannabis on and off for 5 years, making about €400 or €500 per week. So he was open. He was like very open and to the cops, admitting to the fact that, like, I make 400 or 500 quid per week. Do you know what I mean? Make a living off of this. It's a shame that the state isn't making a living off of this, because the state could be earning an income tax there off of that 400, 500 quid per week, and also another bit of a tax there off of the sale and supply of the cannabis. But unfortunately, no. Brian Collins, who's 51 years of age, he had his phone seized, and the phone was examined with messages consistent with the drug dealing were found inside in there. He has 2 previous convictions for sale and supply of drugs. He's also got a 6-month sentence for the offence back in 2016. And the previous year, he was given a community service order of 180 hours for drug dealing. So clearly the law is no deterrent here for Brian, and nor should it. Like, do you know what I mean? It's rather lucrative. Like, it's 400 or 500 quid. Like, that's the guy's job. Nobody's really getting hurt by this. The people coming buying the product off of him, like, they're rather happy to receive it. They're consenting adults, I should hope anyway, that he's not out there selling it to kids. But look, if he is, there's no regulations there currently that says that he can't, which is the failing of the state. Paul McCarthy, defence barrister, said the defendant cooperated, made full admission, and accrued significant drug debts which he was trying to pay off. She also said that he was engaging with Arbour House, which is a drug treatment facility here in Cork. And I wonder, is that engaging with Arbour House, is that a cost to the taxpayer? Like, is that a HSE funded one, where he's getting it off his medical card, or whatever the process is there, where the state pays for the treatment for people suffering with addictions? They only suffer with addiction when they get caught with dealing the drugs, it seems. But yeah, this case has been put back anyway until the 26th of November, when it's going to come before the Cork City Circuit Criminal Court. Brian Collins was arraigned previously at the Cork Circuit Criminal Court, where he pleaded guilty to the charge of having cannabis for sale and supply at the time when its street value exceeded €13,000. And this case goes back to September 19th of 2020, when he's home on I won't give out the number here actually. It's on a particular road here in Cork. Was raided. But yeah, it seems like they're stating the fact there that it's over the 13 grand. So they're going to try to go to town on Brian. Are they going to try to give him the minimum mandatory, which this should carry, which is I believe 10 years in prison, because it's over the 13 grand. But they probably won't. they'll find some extenuating circumstance. The prison's at breaking point, guys. They can't afford to be continuing to lock these guys up. Because for every Brian Collins like that they lock up, there's about 50 others out there more than willing to take his place. Because who doesn't want to make 400 or 500 quid a week selling a bit of weed and getting your own free bit of weed on the side? And pay no taxes, choose your own working hours. Happy feckin' days. Cannabis reform Ireland, guys. That's what we need. Yeah, Ross, Dr. Greentham, what a waste. 100%, man. I wouldn't think so, Martin. Taxpayer pays for it. Yeah, I would reckon so as well, yeah. Daniel Crowley, 10 years for a plant. Crazy. It is. And that's another case that is coming up there in a little bit. I really jumped right to it right now. It was where a man is after getting a 12-year prison sentence handed to him. He's 31 years of age, and he was caught. He was caught not once, not twice, but 3 times. He was caught up in 3 raids, 3 seizures, and over the 3 seizures, the totality of the drugs seized were valued at 1.2 million. And the drugs were made up of cannabis herb, cannabis jellies, and MDMA. So yeah, he was being handed the minimum mandatory of 10 years. He was actually given a 12-year sentence, but the final 4 years were suspended again on strict conditions. Yeah, Joe, he was caught with a van that contained 372 kilos of what they describe as drug-laced sweets. Again, I'd love to know, like, what was the makeup of those drugs-laced sweets? Like, did it actually contain THC? How many of the jellies actually contain some adulterated compounds? Do you know? How many of them, like, were dangerous and not safe for consumption, you know, outside of what they try to say about toxic THC? But other spice, those other dangerous synthetic cannabinoids, how many of those were found to be within the jellies? We never hear this. Like I brought up in the past there, the Forensic Science Ireland. It took them a year to get the information out to the public that last year they found cannabis which was spiked with synthetic cannabinoids. And as I talked about, is that the reason why kids are having seizures after they consume these products? Big issues, big fucking issues. But yeah, Ireland's going to be paying for that. So the guy's going to be locked up for about 8 years. So you're talking about 80 grand a year, about 80 to 90 grand a year. So you're talking somewhere in the region of like 600,000 to 700,000 euro there. The Irish state is going to be paying over the next 8 years to lock this guy up. Like that's 3 family homes there. If you're getting a family home built for, let's say, 250,000, do you know? That's the equivalent of 3 family homes the state could be building instead of locking this guy up. The only reason this guy is getting locked up is because the state hasn't facilitated the proper avenues where people could buy these things, you know. So if therefore organised crime gangs or individuals such as this guy will step in and try to facilitate that trade, because there's a demand there. And wherever there's a demand, there's going to be a supply, regardless of its legality or not, you know. Just think about it. Like, just think about it for a second. Like, have we been able to deter, rape with these laws? No. Like, people are going to go out there and rape. Like let's say where there's a demand for something. Let's say child pornography, child abuse images, which I rather they be called, because pornography is rather something that someone can sense in. So child abuse images, there's a demand out there for that, and people still supply it regardless of the law. Now, am I saying decriminalise fucking child abuse images? By God, no, because there's a victim in that crime. There is a victim. The child is a victim. They're unconsenting. They don't want that to happen to them. They're being victimised. Where is the victim if I sell you some cannabis? Where's the victim? You're coming to me. You're giving me money, which I would like, and I'm giving you cannabis, which you would like. You're happy with it. You consume the cannabis. It's good quality cannabis. You suffer no ill effects because it's good quality cannabis. Like, where's the victim? Where's the victim? There's none. There's fucking none. So it doesn't warrant this. Like, it doesn't warrant this. MDMA, even at the moment, it's been investigated for its therapeutic potentials. Like, MDMA is something that could offer a lot of healing out there, especially when it comes to relationship therapies. I definitely would love to be able to see a professional service out there where couples suffering from maybe problems, they could go in and sit down with a professional therapist and do like a couple of hour session there under the influence of a bit of MDMA. It helps lower the barriers, helps open up the possibilities for honest conversations, free from any kind of barriers that we put there ourselves, where we don't allow ourselves to talk about certain aspects of our lives. You know, MDMA is really useful for that. And many other things, not just couples therapy. That's just one area where I was very interested in, and I've done a lot of research into it in the past. And it's definitely something that should be looked into. And we shouldn't be locking people up for it. Like that's the annoying thing. Again, shout out to anyone's child out there. You know, if you ever want to look at a reason as to why MDMA and other drugs should be legalised, go look up Anne Cockburn, I believe is her name. Her daughter, Martha, she was 14 years of age when she passed away, sadly, as a result of MDMA, which turned out to be extremely pure. Her daughter, at 14 years of age, was able to get access to MDMA. The MDMA which she got access to was incredibly pure. And she suffered a fatal overdose as a result. What did that mother go and do? She went and campaigned then for other kids out there by campaigning for the legalisation of MDMA and the regulation of it, because she believes that MDMA being legalised and regulated, her daughter would probably not have got access to it, or had she had gotten access to it, she would have had some more idea as to the strength of it and been able to act accordingly, as Anne describes her daughter as being a sensible a young lady who would have been a bit diligent about those kind of things, you know. But unfortunately, prohibition snuffed that life out way before its time. But definitely check out Anne-Marie Cockburn. Anne-Marie Cockburn, that's actually her name, sorry. She has a book. It's titled... Can't find it there. I do have a signed version of it. I actually got a book signed by her when I met her over in Liverpool a while back. But the title of the book is The Number of Days That Her Daughter Spent Alive. If that helps. I'm gonna have to Google it there now and get her book. 5,742 days. There you go. That's the name of the book. So I'll pop that up on screen there now, guys, just so you can all see this as well for yourselves. If anybody's interested in a read off this, or if it's something that maybe they might be wanting to get for a parent in their own life, you know, because I do believe that this is a quite an eye-opening book, and for other parents to be kind of aware as to the dangers posed to their kids by prohibition. This is a really good book. So if you have a parent who you kind of want to get on the side of supporting the legalization of drugs, then this is definitely a book to get for that parent. Final news story from Ireland then for today, guys, is a chef who broke his ankle running away from the Gardaí with €1,300 worth of cannabis. This is a case of a chef who was stopped and searched by the Gardaí, and when he was asked by the Gardaí if he had anything else on him in his bag, he took off running but fell over after a short time, fracturing his ankle in the process. So this individual, when stopped by the Gardaí, first he admitted to the fact that he had a joint on him, and he was after throwing that away. And he was hoping that the cops would have left him off, and obviously once he knew that they were going to search further, he was like, fuck that, and he legged it. And unfortunately he must have legged it a bit too hard, and suffered the fractured ankle. Guys, make sure your runners are tied properly. Maybe that was the case there, like the guys with the old Air Max, and they don't have them tied, and they got no support there for the ankle, and next they're running and crack. Oh shit. Also, it's important, guys, the importance of daily regular exercise. Impact training helps build strength, especially in the ankles, so getting out there for a regular long walk or a nice jog will help build up strength there in your ankles, so that you don't encounter situations like this should you find yourself needing to run from the law. Oh, funny enough, everyone. And happy 420. Yeah, it's 420. Boo. Let's pack a bowl and blaze one up. It's 4:20 in the Azores right now, and we're finished the Irish news anyway, pretty much for that one. Or are we actually? Oh yeah, the chef in this case anyway. He was up in court recently. He said he is extremely remorseful for his crime, and he vows something like this will never happen again. The barrister said at the time of the incident, the defendant was very down and anxious because of COVID and was using a lot of cannabis to help with this, to reduce that anxiety to deal with COVID. That's a trend seen across the United States. Like, do you know what I mean? That's not a lie. Cannabis is incredibly helpful. Do you know? Ask Seth Rogen. Do you know? He talks about it. He thinks that people should be prescribed cannabis in order to stay at home and chill. Do you know? If the government want people to stay at home and chill, give them some fucking cannabis. Netflix and chill, baby, with some cannabis. Yes, that's what you want. But no, unfortunately, we have people out there running away from the cops, breaking their ankles. He said that he made an error, a bad error in judgment, but he has taken massive steps to address this and rectify the situation. However, Judge Dermot Dempsey noted the defendant has a peace bond dating back to 2018 for possession of drugs. He didn't seem to learn from that, the judge says, and the barrister said the accused was 100% remorseful and was working very hard to change this. It's not that he didn't learn his lesson. He had a habit that got out of hand, but he has got on top of it now. Yeah, he's smoking less cannabis now. Or he's leaving his cannabis at home now when he leaves his property. Something they've been told by the guards after they catch you with it. You should have left it at home. It's like, why? So you can raid my gaff, is it? Sausages, like. Asked by the judge whether the defendant is still using cannabis, the solicitor said he was using very little. There you go. And was trying to give up completely, adjourning the case to January 27th to allow time for the preparation of a probation report and urine analysis. Judge Dempsey warned he better address his problem. He's on his fourth strike in terms of drugs. Well, do you know what this guy's problem is? His location on the planet. Because if he was located on another fucking part of the planet, he wouldn't have his problem, because the judges wouldn't even be charging him, because what he would be doing would be tolerated. It would be seen as okay, because again, as I said, across the United States, the consumption of cannabis went up during the pandemic as many people reached for it to help alleviate the stress and fucking anxiety that a pandemic brings on a person. And yes, it is well known that cannabis helps alleviate anxiety and stress for people, especially when they're stuck in home. So shame on any judge that would force a guy to give that up. It's really backwards that we allow him to get away with that here, still in Ireland. And to this chef out there, man, I'm going to blaze up a bowl for you here today, buddy. That when you go back to court next time, that the judge is a bit lenient towards you. You shouldn't be going to jail for this anyway, that's for sure. They're going to try to do you for sale and supply, that's for sure. But hopefully they don't give you a prison charge anyway. Get in touch if you're out there. Hopefully your ankles are mending up, and yeah, get in touch. I'd love to have a chat with you. Oh, that was lovely. Right, we got 10 minutes to get through the next couple of headlines and some of the better news. I should have fucking rushed through those bad news rather than been rushing through this next few. But some of the good news across the globe, because none of the good news is coming out of Ireland at the moment, unfortunately. But over in America, where cannabis has been, as I said, tolerated massively, it's one of the industries that's coming out of COVID even stronger. Yes, this is news that was delivered at the recent MJ Biz conference down there in Las Vegas, where the crowd were informed about cannabis sales hitting 20 billion across the United States, and look, they look set to be hitting 26 billion this year. And not only that, but by 2025, cannabis sales are expected to be reaching levels that are going to be beating the craft beer industry over there in the US. Yes, cannabis is going to be beating the craft beer industry when their sales are expected to balloon past 46 billion come 2025. Happy fucking days. You think about this, if you go back 20 years ago, guys, when cannabis was largely illegal across the US, That money, that 26 billion, that was going into the pockets of organised crime gangs out there. Think about it. Like look at the benefits a society is seeing now from ending the prohibition. Not even in its entirety, because they still have a federal prohibition over there. But even with the semi-lifting of this prohibition, you're seeing massive benefits. Like, not only is this amount of money being made, but over in the US, there's an estimated workforce of 321,000 people employed in full-time jobs. 325 or 321,000 full-time jobs. Happy fucking days, like. You tot that up, like, let's say each one of those, let's 321,000, let's say each one of those people is getting 100 fucking thousand, let's just say. So like, you're talking about another 32 billion, is it, or something like that, or 3.2 billion? That's some other ungodly number. No, I know not everybody is getting paid 100,000, but hopefully that's like the average wage, maybe, when you balance it out. But there's some nice starting wages out there for even bud tenders and stuff like that. So yeah, that's coming from the MJ Biz conference. And we have a little video there that'll pop up on screen for you 1 second now. And this is just a little fly through of the conference over there. This is from the Hall of Flowers. This is up in their YouTube page. Had to mute the music there just in case I get pulled. But like, this is it. Like, this is what it should be. Like, none of these people are criminals. These are all normal people. These are all tax-paying, like, law-abiding citizens, you know, and they're being respected by in some part by their country, and they're allowed to, you know, pardon the pun, flourish. Their industry is allowed to flourish, and that's how it should be here too. This is what we should be doing here. We should be having cannabis hemp conferences across the island of Ireland, showcasing the benefits that the plant has to offer us as humans, from houses, from clothes, you know, to medicine, to food. You know, we should be showcasing that. No, what are we doing? We've Chief Superintendent Tom Myers going on. Cannabis edibles are a danger to your kid. Guys, be careful. Drugs and bad. I'm gay. Seriously, like, backwards old Ireland. As I said, video brought to you there by Hall of Flowers. So, yeah, nice to see. This was also from the MJ Biz conference over there in Las Vegas, and it's a funny enough one, actually, because you're at a cannabis conference and all goes good until, guess what, alcohol gets involved. This was over at the bar, a scene from the bar at the conference. See the Budweiser there you one had? And that wasn't a cannabis Budweiser, this is straight up Budweiser with alcohol in there. So funny enough, a fight breaks out at the bar between security and some other guy. Some speculation there as to whether both parties actually had alcohol on board, because that security guard seemed quite hot-headed, in fairness. But yeah, that was coming from the MJ Biz conference over there in the US. And other news over there in the US, a recent survey carried out over there by NARCOM. NARCOM, which is the the North American Research Committee on Multiple Sclerosis, they carried out a survey over there, and they found that in their survey that over 95% of patients who use cannabis to treat symptoms of their condition found it effective. 95%, guys. Like, what other drugs out there gets results like that, in fairness? Like, there's not too many of them, in fairness. So overwhelming results. And interestingly enough, there then as well, in that survey, they found that the most common targets of the symptoms were for patients were spasticity, which is the one included in Ireland. It was 80%. Pain, 69% of the patients saw it for that. That's excluded in Ireland. And sleep, that's also excluded in Ireland. And that's at 61%. So 80%, 69 and 61. That was the reasons why the patients were using cannabis there for the various symptoms of that condition. 95% found it effective. Crazy, like. Some of the types preferred were THC and CBD equal amounts. Also, they found that the THC high varieties were effective. So it was coming in kind of even, like 31%, 30%, and 32% of the them preferring edibles. So there's very even mix there between the preferred choice of consumption method. But yeah, it's sad here in Ireland, you know, that patients still don't have effective access to this plant. Really shameful. Uh, and other good news out there, guys, and we're going to finish up on this one, and I'm going to have to leave it rather abruptly because I'm really caught for time, and I apologize for this one. But Glazed and Confused, they've been voted the best logo in the cannabis industry over there in the US, and that was by the Cannabis and Tech Today magazine. So congratulations to Glazed and Confused. They're based over there in Michigan, and their owner Dan Rosek has this to say. I'll pop it up in video actually. Guys, if you want to stick around, if you don't mind actually, I'll play this video. It's only about 2 minutes long. I'm going to be about another 10 minutes. I'm going to pop out again and I'll come back. I'll get through some of your comments there again, and we can chat a little bit more if you so wish. But this is the final news piece that I do have for you today in today's 420 news. My apologies again, as I say, for having to run. It's just something that I can't really work around right now, but we will get there eventually. So here's the owner of Glazed and Confused, and it's a really cool logo, in fairness. I'll show you their website before I show you their video. This is their website, and if anyone's looking, they actually have they're looking for jobs out there at the moment. They're looking for part-time bud tenders and part-time sales associates. But yeah, there's their logo up there in the corner, Glazed and Confused. Nice, real created. And if you don't already know, it's a playing the name of Dazed and Confused. That's the movie. Check it out if you haven't already seen it. Great movie too. Of course, the logo doesn't know. There it is. Dazed and Confused. Right, here's the video anyway, guys, and I will be back ASAP. And I apologize for the absence.
Yeah, he's sleepy, we like to say, yeah.
Glazed and Confused in Crystal Falls, Michigan was recently honored for their
hopefully the autoplay doesn't kick in and it keeps playing fucking their news, but what can you do?
They broke it down by state, and they had individual winners for state, and we in Michigan won for #1 overall in the country.
Rosick says that he was blown away with the recognition by Cannabis and Tech Today magazine.
When they first called, I actually thought it was a hoax and that they were pulling a prank on us or wanted us to buy some stuff, but it was, all real.
Real enough to be published in the national magazine. However, Rosick's road to fame was not expected.
I was working at a local ski hill here and ran into a rope at like 35 to 45 miles an hour and hit it with my neck. And the officers and ER doctor said I was lucky to be walking, talking, breathing. And that's how I ended up on the cannabis program.
He had been using medicinal marijuana for years to recover, which has helped. Then last year, Rosick wanted to start a cannabis provisioning center.
And we're ready to open on 4/20 of last year. COVID hit.
But after all Dan had been through, his plans for a cannabis shop was not about to go up in smoke.
I sold my four-wheelers, I sold my snowmobile, and sold a couple other things around, leveraged myself to the hill, borrowed from family and friends, and said that we weren't going to open up until we found a safe way around it or ran out of money.
But then came time for a logo, going through many revisions.
Remade it, and we had a couple different drawings we shot back and forth and picked one and said, hey, I like that one, that looks like pretty close to my drawing, and went from there.
Rosick says his story is not yet complete. With the new honor, there are hopes to forge new relationships going on to higher grounds. In Crystal Falls, Kyle Pozorski, Newswatch 12.
Oh, he's back. Back again. And it didn't go into autoplay. And I lost my other screen. Give me 1 second. Get the studio back in bloody action. How many have we got out in the audience? Nice, I got 15 minutes to chill and chat with whoever's left. Oh, so my sincere apologies there, guys. As I said, family first, as always. Of course, family is most important. And hopefully maybe by next week I'll have a substitute a taxi driver who'll fill in for me. 1 sec there. Boom, there we go. All sorted now. Yes. Woo, to be flat out. A pizza each use of time. Don't mind some pizza right now, actually. My stomach is rumbling. Been busy out all day. I haven't actually left this computer. I'm back repeating my college work at the moment. Getting some stuff that I got extensions on done. And I'm long overdue a bit of food, actually. I haven't eaten anything since coffee this morning, and that's not really even food. I had a big lump of fat inside it in the form of butter and coconut oil and some mushroom extracts as well, but unfortunately, like, no real salads. Look forward to a bit of steak there now or something soon, I'd say. Get something tasty into me anyway. Gonna pack up another bowl. Sorry guys. What did you all think there of what was it called? Glazed and Confused. I'm gonna pop their logo up on screen. Actually, I've an old copy of it downloaded. There we go. Glazed and Confused. Boom. Oh, she's feckin' huge. It's nice, isn't it? It's very nice. Very nice logo indeed. But what I wanted to talk about them again for is their website. Their website is up and line, and you can go over and check it out if you want yourselves. But the price of cannabis up there and the selection, guys, it's amazing. In fairness, it seemed very nice. I was over kind of browsing through it earlier, just comparing what the prices in the US are compared to the here in Ireland. And it's ridiculous. Like, you're getting 3.5 grams over there, what you'll be paying, 60 quid here for at the moment, 50 quid on a good day. You'll be getting for like €20 over there. It's like $25 for an 8 over in from Glazed and Confused of particular strains. Now they have some more expensive strains as well, but that's the starting price of an 8. And they have sales as well. Like, these things go on sale. This is their website up there. This is their merchandise. They're online now. There we go. Flowers, pre-rolls, vaporizers, concentrates, edibles. They have at the moment a Holy Clifton, $40 for an 8. So it's a new product they have up there. And then they have Uplifting Blackjack sauce, 71.7% THC. Woohoo! $50. $50 for that. Like, what's that? Is that a gram or something? $50 for a gram of concentrate. Yeah, 1 gram, $50. $50, guys. That's like just over €40. Let's say, like, for a gram. Like, that gram over here in Ireland. What would you be thinking that gram over here in Ireland would be going for? I reckon it would be going for probably somewhere in the region of 100 quid thereabouts. But over there in the US, $50, and you get yourself a nice high quality extract from the cannabis plant. And you pay your taxes and this stuff as well. Look, if we go to I have stuff in the cart actually from earlier. And when you go into this, like, they add on your taxes, so you proceed to checkout. So I have in here is 1 ounce of cannabis and an 8. And the ounce of cannabis was $400 because I went for the upper one. Or no, actually, it was more inside of there. Yeah, it was. There was 2 ounces. 1 ounce was $240. The other ounce was $400. So I think you might be able to see that there up on screen. But when you go into it, then the taxes. So when I go to the proceed to check out the taxes there, like they make up like just shy of a fifth of the price, just shy of a fifth thereabouts. Like maybe what's that? One over six, a sixth, a sixth of the price. Crazy. There you go. There's the taxes. $64 cannabis tax, a $42 sale tax. Happy days. The state is getting their cut, or yeah, the state is getting their cut. Organized crime gangs are no longer a problem over there, and consumers are getting some top quality bloody products. Let's go to their flowers. Look at their flowers. They got some nice selection of flowers there. Grandpa's Stash. An ounce of Grandpa's Stash is $240. An ounce of Sunset Sherbet is $360. One of the nicer strains there. I'd say one of the more higher end strains, sorry. It's an indica dominant hybrid cannabis strain made by crossing Girl Scout cookies with pink panties. Ooh-wee. I think it's named after Conor McGregor's comments there as a pink panties night. This strain exhibits powerful full body effects that are elevated by a jolt of cerebral energy and carefree state of mind. Nice. Oh, fucking hate prohibition. But yeah, that's Glazed and Confused, guys. Just one of the many cannabis dispensaries across the US, and that logo was recently giving the award for the best logo in the whole of the US by the Cannabis Cannabis and Tech magazine. Actually, I have another image there of the Cannabis and Tech magazine. Will pop up on screen. They've had some interesting characters on the cover. They've had Redman. They've had Tommy Chong. They've had Damian Marley. They've had Jim Belushi. Who else is up there? Dr. Seuss Sisley. So some big names there in the cannabis industry. They've all been featured on the cover of that. Soon to be up there will be Martin Condon, apparently. Yes. Mark out there. A shop like that looks like heaven. A world away. It's disgusting. We are all on the same planet, same humans, same plant. Oh no, we are criminals. Yep. It's so ludicrous. Like that literally, this is just, there's an ocean between us. That's it. There's a body of water between us. And over there, you can walk into a store and you'll be able to not only walk into a store, but see this, you can order online. This will be delivered to your door. Because in the interview, the owner of the store actually talked about the fact that he envisioned he started off setting up this store after he suffered a skiing accident. He was left fucking almost paralyzed after running into a wire on his skis. Pretty much almost took his head off by the sounds of it. But he went about setting up after seeing the benefits for himself of cannabis. He wanted to set up a cannabis dispensary in his own area. And he went about, sold all his stuff. He went to launch it then. He was planning a launch at 420 in 2020, but we all know what happened then. So we had the COVID came in and messed it all up. But he was fucking determined not to let that get in the way. And there you go. There you see it, like an order to your door from a website, as it should be. Click and collect even. Billy Bonds says, still a bit expensive, but regulated market shows how good it could be. Yeah, Billy, definitely, it's still a bit on the expensive side. And I reckon with federal legalization, I reckon that's going to make it even more expensive. Possibly that's what they're saying over in the US anyway. The federal legalization is going to add another tax onto those taxes. So you'll have a federal cannabis tax, thereby making the price go up. Therefore benefiting, again, any illicit market that might exist to try to sell, cannabis, pair to pair, free from the taxes there, Or will we just go back into the barter system? I got some cannabis. What have you got? I'll barter, yeah. What are you good at? Can you build me a shed? Build me a shed and I'll give you a couple of ounces. Bartering your goods, your services. I don't think we'll be going back to the bartering days. I'm just joking. Adam O'Brien, what's happening? We need to move to the USA if we want to buy cannabis legally. Ireland is too old school, political. Yeah, you're probably right there in some regards. Like if you want to get access to cannabis legally right now, yeah, definitely moving to the US is probably one way of doing that. But definitely like if man, we all have the voice up or support there for this change. Like we see people day in day out go to court and there's no uproar. Like you're getting young fellas going in or even young students going into court. They're getting caught with 50 bags, getting caught with quarters, ounces, whatever. Like and they're getting done for simple possession or even dealing. You know, and nobody's getting pissed off about it. Nobody's getting outraged. Well, that's where Martin's World comes in. Is anyone out there like who gets falls on the wrong side of the law, and if you want to get some support, if you like to raise your voice about it, by all means, get in touch. I've extended this invitation more than once in the past. Like so, by all means, drop me an email. Because we need to raise our voice in order to get change here. And not only raise our voice, but engage in actions, engage in the civil disobedience protests, such as those that I embarked on, which was planting cannabis plants. But like civil disobedience doesn't have to be just planting cannabis plants. Your own civil disobedience could be setting up a little cannabis grow network between you and your friends, and being ready. You know, if the cops ever kick in the door, that what you were doing the whole time was a protest against the law. You were like distancing yourselves from the black market. You were ensuring the quality of your product. You know, your civil disobedience protests, they need not be public until they have to be public. Yeah, if you get what I'm saying. So it's up to us. It's up to each one of us out there right now. You know, but definitely, guys, get out there, be public about this, loud and proud. Like for me anyway, I had no problem saying it. Like I'm a stoner, I enjoy cannabis. Like if you want to try to make that a derogatory term to use against me, fuck you. I'm going to stick it on me and I'm going to wear it like an armor so it can't hurt me. I'm a stoner and I'm proud of it. So what? Yes, and this stoner is going to pack a bowl of cannabis right now. Because I'm a big old stoner, aren't I? How many of you are stoners out there? Are you all stoners? But no, not everybody has to be a stoner. Like some people might not be into the cannabis culture kind of stuff. Like I love the cannabis culture. I love the reggae music, the comedy that goes with it. You know, all of the things that go with cannabis culture. Not just the reggae music, but all music goes with cannabis. Like, but some more than that are more associated with than others. Really. Martin said the C word. What's that? Cannabis? Cannabis? I say it again. Cannabis. I know the one you're on about. Hopefully the stream doesn't get flagged. Let's blaze one up anyway. To all the stoners out there. Yum. What's a stoner? It's a guy who collects rocks, John. Yeah, you see him quite often on beaches. You see a lot of stoners on beaches. They go around collecting rocks. Yeah. Their pants is often falling down because they have too many rocks in their pockets. Big stoners. That's the problem with stoners these days, going around with their low-hanging pantses. Hype says, not a stoner, just always stoned. Yes. That qualifies too. Nice. Buddha says, love disco, funk, trance when high. Nice. Happy days. Yeah, I've got such a diverse range, taste of music when I'm high. It's really representative of my mood at the time. But quite often or not, you can't beat some good old classical music. And I am talking about proper classical instrumental like Beethoven and all that kind of stuff. Flight of the Bumblebees kind of thing. Great old music, that stuff. But then outside of that, even the older music, then going back to the 60s, 70s, 80s, like some great music. So some of the music coming out these days, I don't know. So it's few and far between. I don't know. I'm not a music expert by any means, so I won't say any more for fear of making a complete fool of myself in my taste in music. The R420 supplies, this stoner is heading home after a busy day to enjoy some amnesia. Nice, and he's talking about a strain of cannabis there. not the medical condition. And yeah, definitely, as Podge says there, stay safe, Kev, and chat later, buddy. And I am Toby's out there as well. I am Toby says I smoke on the weekends, and I don't know what that makes me. A cannabis consumer. What else would it make you? You're a person who consumes cannabis on the weekends. Like, being a stoner does not mean that you're a cannabis consumer. Like, a stoner is definitely a particular type of person, you know, is definitely more expressive about cannabis culture. They'd have no problem going around wear like a t-shirt that has a little cannabis leaves over it, like, or a big Bob Marley like Rasta fucking weed leaf type of t-shirt or something like that, or pants. You know what I mean? They're not afraid of kind of expressing their love of cannabis. Like that to me is a true stoner. Person who's not afraid to express it, like, and who engages in the culture of cannabis. I don't know. That's not a limited definition there. Like, I definitely think you could probably expand on that as you see fit. We're all inclusive, you know what I mean? Billy Bonds, yeah, like Cheech and Chong, Martin, takes a hit from the bong. Yes. Gotta hit that bong like Cheech and Chong. To all the poets out there. Hype there to Toby. An enthusiast or a social smoker. That's what hype says your labels are. So, we're all coming up with our pronouns today, guys, okay? I prefer to be known as a stoner, okay? So I now identify as Martin the Stoner, okay? When you identify him as here comes the Stoner, how do you identify as? Yes. I see Luke Ming had that up in his thing, like I think that was up in his Twitter there. I was over on his Twitter the other day, and I kind of happened to notice like he was getting in on that whole pronoun thing. Oh, somebody's getting called. He, him. There you go. He, him. That's what he had up there. I don't know. Is that a thing you should do? Should I do that now? Should I put up on mine like he stoner? I'm sorry. I mean no offense to anybody out there that actually like gets offended by that whole pronoun thing. Like, you're either he or you're she. Like, you're him or you're her. Zer, z, they. It's like, okay. I can appreciate like that some people don't feel like they fit in boxes, but like you're confusing me now. It just gets too confusing. Like, where are we going as a society? Like, it's always been he, she. Like, you know, it's like you're a he or you're him. Like, and I have no problem with a guy who wants to be a girl, and if he wants me to call him a she, no problem. No problem at all. But what's this day about? Like, that you're neither nor he or she. You're a they. You're a Z, you're a zer, you're a zum, dum, dum, or whatever noise you want to make with your mouth. Like, where do we draw the line on this? Like, sorry, I shouldn't have even gotten into that topic. Sorry, it's completely like off it, really. Like, we kind of went there over the whole identifying as a stoner. But I mean no offense to anybody out there. I'm just really just bringing up the fact that it's rather confusing. That whole thing, like. And I have complete respect, like, the people, like, to the males who want to be female or females who want to be male. I'll completely, and no problem identifying with you as you would like to be. But it's like you're a he or she, one or the other. Start with the day, like, and the this and the that. Yeah, don't go down the Dave Chappelle road, Martin. I'm that's on my list actually, John. It's funny you bring that up. That's on the list there for this evening. If the baby doesn't come out this evening, hopefully I get to sit down and watch Dave Chappelle. Because I've been meaning to get around to watch that, and I think that's how I'm going to enjoy my evening this evening. Intersex is a thing. Gender is a spectrum. I think that's the gist of it. Yeah, no, I understand that. Like, no, I understand that. That they talk about intersex being a thing, but it's like, but you. Do we need to come up with a new pronoun for like that? Yeah, like, can we not just settle on one or the other? Like, just pick one. Like, we don't need to create a third one. Like you know, like I don't understand. Like, I really don't. Like, I'd love to have somebody on, like, if they want to come on and try to educate me on this, because like I know there's probably people out there who've got a strong opinion on this, because I really do mean no offense, and I'm sorry I'm after fucking opening up opening up Pandora's box here now maybe on this one, like, um but yeah, the whole intersex thing just gets rather confusing, like, did you ever like listen to that Radio Lab podcast, like, where the gender fluid guy was on, and throughout the interview he's like, well, no, I'm a she, or I'm a her, and now I'm like, it's like, that's a very eye opening interview that one was. Yes, I'll smoke to that, Carol. I will smoke to that. I want to pack up a bowl for that one, because Carol says everyone is what they want to be these days. Whatever makes you happy, smoke them if you got them. And that's it. Like, you need to be a bit more carefree. Like, let people identify as they want to identify. And so be it. Like, but at the same time, don't force it down my throat. Like, if I don't want to conform to that way of like being, like, because I mean no offense by not conforming to it. Like, it's just, it doesn't compute up here right now, like, as to the fact that there's like a third gender, but it's a mid gender. It's neither he nor her. It's intersex. It's like, sorry, I'm into science and biology and stuff, and it's like there's two genders, and I can understand it could be like you can be gender fluid and stuff like that, but still, like, you're either one or the other. Don't get to be a third one. But yes, I'll smoke to that, Carol. I'll smoke to that. Let it be. That's it. Be carefree. Like, nobody's jumped down my throat about this either. I just thought it was Ming was rather woke for having him up there. We'll drop it because we're gonna lose viewers and subscribers over this now. It's like, hey, he's a transphobe. He doesn't like day. Sorry. I love everybody. Peace and love, everybody. Skitana says, I think it's just, isn't it? I suppose it's more confusing if you'd have to address somebody as he, him one day and she, her the next day. Yeah, that's true too. But at the same time, it's like, if you address somebody as he, and they'd rather be a they, or if you address them as a she and they'd rather be a they, it's kind of, you could forgive somebody for mixing up somebody's gender. Do you know what I mean? Like, if a guy looks like a girl and you're just like, oh, who's that girl? Or if a girl looks like a guy and you're just like, oh yeah, who's that guy? If, like, okay, you could forgive somebody for that. Like, but like, if you were to, like, how are you ever supposed to know when somebody's a they? Like, who's that they? Who's that they? Who's that them? I'm sorry. I'm sorry for poking fun at that whole thing, because I really do mean no offense by it at all. Like, John Finnegan says, I am a Ford Capri. Yes, Cork made car as well. Did you know that, John? Yes, you definitely knew that by the old Ford factory down here in Cork. They used to make some of those old Capris. We actually fitted a windscreen once there, going back about a year or so ago. It was about 2 years ago now, actually. Down in the back of Fermoy. And the guy had it from new. It was stored out in the shed. I think it was his own. I believe he bought it out of the Cork factory as well. And amazing car. Yes, smoke them if you got them. Yes. Where are you? I'm from Maine, says Carl. Carol, I'm over here in Cork, in Ireland, County Cork, Ireland. So hello from Ireland, top of the morning, yeah. But is it your first time on the show, Carol? Can't recall your name in the past, but welcome to the show if it is your first time. And Carol is I'm just me. Yes, I love that, Carol. Yes, Chappelle is backing me, Martin. Has he shared the stream? He has. That would be epic if Dave Chappelle shared the stream. Yes. Love it, guys. Guys, to everybody out there right now, much love to all of you for tuning in to today's stream. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring today's 420 to you. And again, forgive me for my minor, brief absences there as the show went on. Hopefully, I'll be able to work around that in the future. Guys, if you want another great show to watch this evening, also at 9 o'clock on YouTube is going to be High on Homegrown. They're going to be hanging out a stoner session as they do on a Friday evening here on this side of the pond anyway. So check that out as well. Great one, great panel of members over there as well. So head on over to that one as well. I'll be probably in the audience myself tuning in if I'm not busy watching Dave Chappelle stuff. The lads normally go from 9 until like past 11 sometimes. So great show to check out. It's your first time checking in, Carol. Well, I hope you come back again, Carol. Make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button there, so you get notified of any future shows. I go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I cover cannabis news from a lot of it from Ireland, but I do the rest of the world as well. And I'm more than open to receiving people's input there as well. So if you ever have some input there from Maine, if you'd like to be a correspondent from Maine, I would absolutely love that as well. I do get people sending me news articles from time to time, but I'd love to hear from other people from around the world as well and have their input in the show. It'd be great. Yeah, so I'm going to say goodbye now, guys, because I have to head over to the Patients for Safe Access, which is another organisation here in Ireland helping to get access to cannabis for patients of Ireland. So we've a meeting there that started a few minutes ago. So I'll head on over there to the guys, and I love you and leave you. I'll catch some of you over at the High and Homegrown chat room later on. But until then, guys, have a blessed weekend, guys. Stay safe out there. Stay blazed and keep her lit. Peace.